Your home is your sanctuary, and it should feel like, oh, I'm home. It shouldn't feel like, I've just done the bathroom, I don't really like it, but it's got good resale value. If you don't really love it, who else is going to really love it? Pick stuff that you really love, really think about it, think about how they will match up. A bathroom isn't just a place to brush your teeth in.
So welcome, Charlene, to our In Conversation With series.
Oh, thank you.
This is a series all about real conversations with professionals in the industries of design, interiors and bathrooms. And I'm so glad to have you here today.
It's a real privilege to be here. Thank you so much.
Thank you for coming. So your business is called Bunker Interiors, isn't that right? Bunker Design.
Yeah.
And can you give me a little bit of a description of what it is that Bunker do? What services do you offer?
So at Bunker, what we do is we mostly work with developers and homeowners, understanding if they are doing a renovation, what it is they can achieve out of their bathroom and kitchen and their whole house. So one of the things is, like maybe they're renovating something, maybe they've purchased something and they just need some ideas about what they can do, how they can maximise like floor layouts, look at electrical plans and then look at what they want to achieve in different spaces like bathrooms and kitchens.
Unreal. That's all.
That's all.
That's all, just like that.
Yeah.
So you get to the real nitty gritty of it. You are going the design, layout, restructuring, like you're having input into all of those sort of ideas as the interior designer.
Yeah, so I think people think when they think of interior designers, it's all about cushions, but there is interior designers that do that. But my services, what I do is I'm more of you've just got something, you've just purchased something, you're just about to move into something or you're renovating something and you're looking at this really horrible, ugly building space and you've no idea what to do with it, and it's getting the foundations right, looking at it, looking at what's possible in that space, bringing that kind of knowledge about what's out there, and like drawing it out for the client, giving them floor plans, understanding what's possible, and then kind of giving them a strategy about how to implement that. So it's not cushions, it's like the proper foundations and structure.
Showing what can be done with this space and what you can do with it, providing that potential and then implementing that
yes
as well.
Exactly.
It's incredible. Incredible. No, so you are working with Bathshack. We're collaborating at the moment on a really exciting project at our Antrim showroom where you are designing 4 new showroom pods.
Yes.
Do you want to give a little bit of summary about that as well, sort of what the idea behind it is, just a wee brief run through?
So essentially I was speaking to the guys at Bathshack and I was like, oh, why don't you come up with a design for a bathroom pod? And I was like, I was kind of thinking, but which one would I tap into? But as somebody who works with a variety of kind of clients, I see a kind of stream through them all, and they generally fall into 4 different types of personas and things that they like. So I kind of brought this, I thought, why don't we bring that idea to Bathshack and show what 4 different looks can look like if you are a certain type of person, what you generally would gravitate towards. So there's like the bright, funky kind of vibe, there's serene spa kind of vibe, there's the more kind of sophisticated vibe, and then we have our single kind of trendy city vibe. So we've got 4 different pods and I think they'll really tap into a variety of customers, but somebody will really love something. Somebody won't love all of them, apart from if you're me. But somebody will resonate with one of them or 2 of them, and they might say, oh yeah, I can see a wee bit of that and I really love that, and take different ideas from each of the pods into their own bathroom transformation.
It's incredible. I've seen the designs myself and we've run through them a few times now. I know the concepts, but I am so excited to see the final like the final setting now. Like I just cannot wait to see them. Like you're so creative. It's just so interesting to see it from the planning point of view to what it's going to look like. So I can't wait to see more. And of course we'll be covering it all on our socials, so everybody can set the date on that. But no, every time I speak to you, Charlene, I'm always left feeling so inspired, and like you always have so many hints and tips. And I was wondering, if possible, could you please share a few tips for people who are designing their bathrooms, from that interior design perspective?
When I think of anything, I always think about what I generally go through with clients and think, okay, well, if I was to extract those tips, what do I do? So one of the main things I always get a client to do with me is like bring me on site and say, what would you do? The first thing is always looking at the layout. If there is a layout there that's causing a few issues, how can we improve it? I do feel like people should stretch their budget a wee bit if the result they can get will be much better than the solution they have at the moment. So if you think of, you go into something and there's an old storage cupboard sitting there that you're thinking, oh, we'll just paint it or something. You're like, but could that be a shower? Could that, do we really need that room in? Or do we really need that space anymore? Push your builders to kind of understand what layout improvements you can have. Don't be so worried that you need to keep the taps in the same place. It may make more sense that they move to another area, that they're a centre focus in the room. Things like that. Where's the vanity? Don't have a big wall that's just not really doing anything. Really space out and really think out and plan the layout of your new bathroom. Secondly, then I would look at the materials. I'll go and contradict myself. Less is more, but then I do love more is more. So I love loads of tiles.
Says I do, not as I say. What's the quote?
I do love loads of tiles, and I do think if you're that kind of personality where you can inject more, go for it. But if you are the kind of personality where you like serene and lean into what you really love, don't be going, well, that's just the wee tile there that they have, and that's on offer or something. Because I feel like whenever you get to the stage of buying the tiles, that's probably the cheapest part of your renovation. So pick stuff that you really love, really think about it. Think about how they will match up. How will it match up? How will those tiles match up with maybe sanitary ware, lightware? Really think about the materials and how they'll all come together as a whole. And don't, think about the lights and all those bits and pieces and the tiles and everything, all at the kind of start as much as you can, because if you really love it, you'll keep it for 10 years. If you kind of make a compromise on something just to save some money, or you think, oh, well, when I go to sell it, that's a really neutral thing, don't worry about that. That's 10 years down the line.
Yeah.
Just have something you really love and invest in the materials that you really enjoy.
It's going to bring you joy. You're living in the space. You want it to be something that you're going to love.
Exactly. Yeah. And I feel like as you get older, your home is your sanctuary, and it should feel like, oh, I'm home. It shouldn't feel like, I've just done the bathroom. I don't really like it, but it's got good resale value. I hear people say things like that, and you think, well, if you don't really love it, who else is going to really love it? Just love it and enjoy it. We've kind of moved away from just having maybe one light, or maybe just a few spotlights. If you can have loads of different light and layer the light and, spotlights, maybe a light above the bath, light in the shower.
And why is that? Do you think, is it just for different times during the day?
Yeah, I just think people want to enjoy their spaces more. A bathroom, isn't just a place to brush your teeth in. It's somewhere to have a bath in. It's somewhere to have a really nice shower. It's somewhere to relax. If you have different kind of mood lighting, wall lights, you can have a really nice relaxing bath. How enjoyable is that on a Friday?
So good.
Yeah, so
I love a dark bath or a dark shower, no lights on, just have them turn the lights off, because I only have an overhead light in my bathroom, but I do love creating that atmosphere.
Yeah,
exactly. Have a dark shower, so I can imagine if you had the appropriate lighting, how relaxing that would be.
Exactly. If you have that, and if you have the opportunity to bring that in, then you should. And then, if you're adding senses and things like that into that, lovely room diffusers, or I see people putting eucalyptus and everything in their baths, and then it creates a really nice smell. If you're teaming that up with some lights, that's just so nice. It's such a, it just feels instantly relaxing. You don't need to go to...
You're creating that spa at home, really.
Yeah, exactly. So, looking at light and looking at wall lights, looking at spotlights, and then, looking at making sure that they can go on and off at different times. Do you know what I mean? You don't have them all in one switch, totally ruin it. And have them lighting underneath your vanity unit. I really love arch lighting at the minute. I love making features. I love going into a bathroom and seeing well, that's the space that you're looking at, and you know you're attracting somebody's eye. Like, so maybe like have an arch lighting, or have I love like plinths with lighting around them, and then the bath is on the middle, but you like obviously need quite a big space. But it's just kind of making the most of what you have, and yeah, with light.
And would you say the lighting is something to consider at early stages of the renovation?
100%, yeah. It's like when you're doing the layout, you need to think of the layout and the lighting and the plumbing. You know, you need to sit down with somebody, a bit like myself, or you know the guys here at Bathshack, and go, right, so this is where it's going to be, and where are my lights going to be, so you can give that to your installer and go, right, we want lights here because the bath's going to be there, and you know, like, you can see that sometimes lights are an afterthought, and they're not correctly placed, and they kind of get lost of where they should be. So yeah, just kind of marrying the two kind of steps together. I think those are my main three things for kind of designing your bathroom.
Thank you so much for sharing that. That was so insightful, and definitely loads of information in there that like not everybody will remember. Like for me in particular, like the lighting is one that maybe an afterthought, so that's a really good point to consider that at the layout stage. And again, you know, pushing your builders to think beyond, you know, don't be afraid to speak up on your ideas and get what you really want out of your renovation. I think that's really important.
I also think as well, because sometimes people will say, oh, you don't need that. And okay, you might not need that, but you want that. Do you know what I mean? It's completely different. And
can it be done?
Yeah.
How can we do this?
Can it be done? And, you know, you like, especially if you have agreed with a builder, maybe a fixed price, but it's kind of like, okay, well, be confident going, you know, but this is what I'm thinking, and how can we figure out, you know, what the cost of it is and what the implications are. And then if you really know what you want, then, you know, you can figure out if you can have it.
If you don't ask, you don't get.
Yeah, exactly. I know, well, that's what they tell us.
That's what they say. Builders will be going, oh, here we go.
I know. Get rid of her.
No, we love builders. We love builders, and they do a lot of hard work.
Love builders. I could not do any of this.
No, seriously, yes, absolutely. But thank you so much for sharing those tips, Charlene.
No worries.
Thank you very much. So to see more of our content with Charlene from Bunker, follow along Bathshack on socials.